Alright, hello there everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Beginning Programming by Example. Now, as you can see, I've already changed the program up a little bit, and I'll explain all my changes. But before that, there were two things I was going to say you can get rid of in that last program and in this one as well. We don't need the standard library right now, and we don't need this other header file that we were given. So, you can just get rid of both of those things. So the problem we came upon last time was, how do we get the console to stay up? And the easiest way to do this, at least that I can teach you right now without having to explain loops, which we'll get into in a little bit, is to get input from the person, not a player. We aren't making a video game right now. From a person. So, if you say my changes, what they do. This obviously will press enter to exit, which is what you have to do anytime you get input from a person and you aren't detecting key presses, because enter makes it a new line, which will break you out of this function to return 1. So and what I added here was I think that's a backslash n, which is backslash is an escape character, and this will tell the console to create a new line. That way hello world and press enter to exit do not print right next to each other. So, and get char just gets a character from the keyboard. It's not too useful, but you know. So if I just run this, here we go. We get hello world, and then press enter to exit. If I press enter, it works. It's done. So now, how would we possibly maybe get important information from a person? And maybe even tell it back to them. So, let's pretend that we're using a program that logs you into something, like a computer. But it doesn't require a password. So, we could do something like username, and then they type it in, so we would get a string. Except for we don't want to get a string. We want to scan formatted, which basically reads the command line for formatted text. And the format we want is a string, and we have to put this string somewhere. You know what? This one's a little bit complicated. I'm going to change it to age. We'll get names and strings here soon. Also, if you notice, I put a semicolon after every instruction. That's telling it, the compiler, that that's the end of the line. There's no more instructions being done. And this is important because white space doesn't matter in C or C++, so this is perfectly legitimate. It will run exactly the same, but adding your white space makes it easier to read. So, basically, %i, that's a format character, or character set, I guess you could say, and it's saying that we're going to be getting an integer from someone. Now, we need to have something that can hold this, so you'll put an int age, and basically, this will, if we put it in here, this holds the integer that's passed in by the person. And then we can print formatted and basically say something like your age is, and then put that format there again, along with a new line and we put age here, and that will be the variable it uses. Now, it's worth noting that if you had more of these, such as if you had 2 integers, which we can actually do just for fun, a crazy number is okay, well, things just happened. Anyways, I was to a crazy number is, and I was going to change this to, I did something a little bit crazy. Basically, my shortcuts were bound to 2 to stop the recording, so when I typed in 42, it kinda stopped recording. But now I'm back. So, I was going to change this to, I guess we'll say meaning of life is, and what I was demonstrating here is that your format depends, your variables and the order you enter them depends on the order of your format where you say they go. So if you have more than one, you just put them in the order that they go in. It's pretty easy. And yep, keep everything the same. We still want to have to press enter to exit. And so what do we get? We get to put in our age. I'll say I'm 42. And apparently something didn't work. I'll go check on this, and then I'll know what's wrong. Okay, so I wasn't planning on touching on this, but apparently we need the pointer to where it's going to go. So, putting the ampersand, I want to say that's called. Anyways, the and symbol before any variable will give you its location in memory, which is very helpful, as you may see in many functions in the future. It's used everywhere. I mean, it's crazy. This should still be okay. This should have been the only thing that needed some help. And so now this will pass in a pointer to our function, which will to our variable, which will make sense, so that it can actually write the value right into there, and we can get it out. So let's try this again. And I shouldn't do 42 as my age, because then it's just going to say 42, 42. So we'll say I'm 20. Well, it kind of worked. It's because we're using get char still. I'll say get s, and that should fix it, because it was getting characters that were there already, so something needs to be added to this. Oh, it wants somewhere to put the string. I'd really rather not use this, but here we'll have it be able to put a string in there. We'll just call this temp, I guess. I'm actually wanting to put the and symbol there. So we'll call this variable temp, and you'll notice something different about this one from age. Char is basically another number. It stands for character, though. Like P is a character, R is a character. All these characters are represented by numbers, and they can fit into bytes, and the definition for byte in C++ just happens to be char, because you use characters more than you use bytes. So I kind of defined it the wrong way, I think. Oh, you know what? This is automatically a pointer since it's to an array. So this points to basically a table of 100 values that are each a byte long, and gives stuff a place to put things. So this will technically have the string that you enter, which will be really nothing. But that's okay. It gives us a nice 100 byte buffer. And now, if I say my age is 20, it still immediately exits. I don't really understand this. Yeah, I'd love to say I did. Let me solve this, and then I'll get back to you. Alright, so basically I figured it out. It's not too terribly complicated, but basically scanf apparently doesn't get the last character, which is the escape character, to actually get out of that, and so when you run get char after scanf, it detects your enter press as well for that, and so you end up with problems. So if you put 2, it gets rid of that last enter you pressed, and then another one. I'm sure there's a better way to take care of it. I just don't know it. But now, if I put my age in as something like 21, as you can see, it says your age is 21, the meaning of life is 42. Pretty basic. Then we can just press enter to escape. So, what if we wanted something a little bit more complicated? Now, I've already shown you that we can get strings into here from the getS, which we didn't actually need, which stands for getString. So, but there's another way to do it as well. If I put that we can get 99 characters of a string in the scan, then call it a name, do %s here, say name, and then over here put name. This should end up putting everything. Now, we need to change this variable's name to name. That way everything checks out. And since this is a pointer already, with if you don't put which value you're accessing, it can go into this function just as is. And this should work out, one might think. I guess we could see. And now this is name. So my name, and there you go. My name is Mike1211, the meaning of life is 42. It's the same thing, and you could even add age onto that, but I'll let you do that if you want to try. It's good practice. But let's say we want something more complicated, something that can hold 2 values. Like, say, a listing of horses or something and their positions and age. Like the name of the horse, the position they got in a race, and their age. Well, we need something to hold all this information, because we don't want to make arrays for each and everything. Basically, arrays hold multiple values. Just trust me on that one. I'm going to show you how to kind of access them here as I write a struct, which is structure. Variable structure, basically, but, you know. And we're going to call this structure horse. And the brackets denote what variables are held in this structure. Now, basically, a structure is a multivariable variable. So it has variables inside of it, but it itself is a variable. You'll see how this works in a second. So we want a name, and most horses' names aren't going to be over 20 characters. So a name of 20 characters. we want something like, I don't know, we wanted its position in a race, and we wanted its age. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of a few of these things. And basically, we're going to put name of horse into here. Now we're going to use the scan function. We're going to get a string. Using the correct characters, and we need actually a horse variable. So we'll name a horse main horse. Oh, right. Don't forget your end line after your definition of the structure of a horse or whatever. And so now we have main horse. But we can't say that a string is a horse. It just doesn't work that way. Well, if you put a dot, you're then able to access the variables inside your structure. And so if I put a dot, I get main horse.name. And that's the variable we want to print it to. Now, of course, after that, we want other things. So if I just copy this twice more, and instead of this, we have integers. And instead of the horse's name, we get his position. And you're going to need to make these pointers. Because remember, arrays by the array names by themselves are pointers. Variables by themselves are not. If that makes sense. I hope it does. And the age. So we get the age of horse and the position. And then we print out all this information. So I'll just do this one last time just so I can get the printf. And we're going to print formatted, basically name, a string, age, an integer, and position as another integer. And integers, I'm sure you know, are numbers that don't have decimal places. They don't have decimal points. So, you get all that. And then we need the variables that it can actually work for. Main horse.name. The position of... No, wait. First, the main horse position. And then the main horse position, actually. I got that backwards. This should be age. Okay. So if we run this, it might not work exactly how I think. We'll see. So the name of the horse is... Goldie. The position of the horse is Goldie got 3rd place out of a race of 1. And the age of the horse is 54. It's an old horse. Oh, I forgot the new line character, as you can see, but we see that the name is Goldie, the age is 54, and the position is 3. And then we just press enter to exit. It's beautiful, just like that. Next time, we'll look at a new problem, which is how could we add more horses? An arbitrary amount of horses, up to 100. I mean, well, up to 10 actually. We'll do 10 because that's a reasonable amount for a horse race. and be able to enter all that information. Well, that'll be next time. So until then, thanks for watching.